Welcome back. Let's take a look at some of the newspaper front pages for you. The Mirror leads with the King being nicknamed King of Peace after he calls for tolerance and respect between faiths as thousands die in wars.
The Guardian leads with an exclusive report that says children are at risk of diabetes, heart disease and other serious health problems after ministers shelve anti-obesity policies until 2025.
The Daily Telegraph leads with the NHS being under fire after analysis shows menopausal women are 3 times more likely to be offered hormone treatment than others.
The Daily Express leads with top Tories insisting that interest rates must be slashed to give the economy a vital kickstart early next year.
The Times leads with Labour drawing up a legally watertight alternative to the Rwanda plan, so Sir Keir Starmer is no longer seen as having a weak stance on immigration.
The Eye are leading with the Tories facing a new threat for the next general election from Nigel Farage's party, Reform UK, as they continue to close the gap on the Conservatives.
Well, joining us now to go through some of the day's headlines is broadcaster Albi Abnakona and broadcaster Andrew Eborn. Welcome to you both again.
Thank you very much.
Lovely story, first of all, Andrew. A blind schoolgirl with a brain tumour having a bit of a surprise from the Queen.
Isn't that absolutely glorious? Olivia Taylor was her name, and she's had a troubled childhood. She's had a lot of chemotherapy and so on and so forth. And she was invited for tea with the Queen, and she said, her first taste of tea, I love tea, to which the Queen replied, oh, you love tea, there you are, you'll be able to have tea from now on. What I also loved, it was in the very room that glorious Paddington sketch took place. So she was in there and everything else, and she brought her own little bear along, which I think was called Corrie after the coronation, and Corrie has been with her, there she is, Corrie has been with her at every time she's ever had a procedure. So the Queen is wonderful at touching the hearts and souls of all sorts of people, and she was particularly good on this one. So it's lovely to have a good story on Boxing Day, and what a happy Boxing Day it's made it.
Absolutely, and a very festive red colour she's wearing as well.
Albi, we've been talking about what we've been doing on Boxing Day, Christmas Day. People like me did nothing but eat and drink, but other people went nuts and went for a very cold swim.
They did, and they do it all across the country. On the front page of The Guardian this morning, we've got some pictures of people taking part in the Christmas Day swim at St Agnes in Cornwall. But these Christmas Day open water swims happen all over the country. They happen at beaches down on the south coast. They happen in London, over at the Serpentine. Is it something you've ever wanted to do, Cam?
It looks very, very cold. I mean, I must admit, I'll go swimming in British waters in the summer. Winter, not so sure. I was in Brighton for Christmas last year and it definitely didn't take my fancy at all. But they're not wearing wetsuits. They're all wearing just swim shorts.
I've done it, actually. I've done it in early December and I did it for a live broadcast and it was quite funny because I went in there totally forgetting that I had all my mic on. So I could hear the studio gallery. And, of course, they were all shouting at me because I was doing the breaststroke.
Right.
And it was, I'll tell you what it is mind over matter, and it's about breathing.
Yeah.
Breathe, breathe, breathe.
And it's very good for you. I mean, cold therapy is what you do in Sweden after your sauna. You roll in the snow and get beaten with birch twigs and things like that. But we used to do it. Bracklesham Bay, I was on the south coast, along from Brighton. And it always used to be the New Year's Eve thing. You would rush into the sea, which is glorious. But it's a really weird one because this was one of the hottest Christmases of all. But what I found extraordinary, I was looking at the meteorological website in terms of how they define a white Christmas now, because it's changed. And what they've said is that if a single flake of snow falls anywhere in the UK between that 24-hour period from the 24th of December, that will count as a white Christmas, which I think is cheating a bit.
Even if it is very warm.
And it happened in the Scottish Highlands. Now, Andrew, unwanted Christmas gifts. Because, you know, as grateful as we are, there's always some of us who decide to sell things on.
We say just a few of us, but actually it's a huge percentage. They're saying a third of young people will sell on their presents. A third. How ungrateful is that?
Why just young people?
Well, I don't know, because I think the old people just don't confess to doing it. I think, but they're saying it was the online auction sites and so on and so forth, and they're saying it's about, the survey was for 18 to 34-year-olds, nearly 3 in 10, 29%, plan to sell their unwanted gifts, which is sort of begs the question about why would you do that? And this whole thing about Christmas and forcing people to have fun and forcing them to exchange gifts and so on and so forth, which they don't really want to do, I think we need to have a bit more honesty about it. And it works on that sort of principle.
Albert, you're younger.
Yes, I'm
do
in that
you
age
resell
demographic.
your unwanted?
I don't normally
Christmas gift?
resell them. What I tend to do if I get a Christmas gift I don't like is I will gift it to someone else. You know, it's quite often that thing, you have a dinner party, someone brings over a bad bottle of wine, you just give it to the next person when you go to a dinner party at their house. And I think in this story as well, Andrew talks about 1/3 of young people. It's actually one in 6 people in general actually list their unwanted Christmas gifts on websites. So it's something we all do, and I think it's a good way to counter waste.
That is
Yeah.
very true.
Could give it to a charity shop as well. It's always another alternative.
Now, you're both like this story because